This is me at 272 pounds at 20 years old, 30 to 60 minute runs every day, a low carb diet. Did I lose weight? Sure. Did I keep it off? Not a chance. Fast forward a year and I did it again, but this time I cracked the code. I lost 80 pounds and managed to keep it off for 16 years. Now I can stay lean while still enjoying the foods I love. The fat loss tips I'm about to share with you helped transform my life, and they might just help transform yours too. If you're new here, my name's Adam, and for the last decade I've been helping men and women like you lose fat and build muscle. If you're returning, welcome back. First up, let's talk diets. Keto, low fat, carnivore. What is the common theme? They're all about creating a calorie deficit. Keto ditches carbs, low fat takes an aim on fat, and carnivore, well, that just takes out pretty much everything apart from meat. There's nothing magical about intermittent fasting. It just helps some people eat less because they have less time to eat. These diets work only when they create a calorie deficit. And the issue is they're usually very difficult to stick to. The secret to seeing it through is finding a balance between what actually works and what you can actually live with. First, I want you to track your calories. Figure out your calorie target using an online calculator. And then I want you to prioritize hitting your calorie target and your protein target. I want you to aim for around 1 gram per pound of your goal body weight per day. And to a point, this will help keep you fuller between meals and at least help you preserve muscle mass. Eat mostly lean protein sources like chicken breasts, turkey breasts, 95 or 97% fat-free mince, white fish, tuna, low-fat cottage cheese, low-fat Greek yogurt, and of course, protein powder if you need that extra help. If you're vegan, this will be more challenging, but peas, tofu, tempeh, and protein powder will be your main sources of protein. High protein diets ensure that you lose fat and not muscle. After protein, get enough healthy fats for hormones, digestion, and vitamin absorption, and the rest of your calories can be allocated how you like. Tracking your food may sound like a drag, but when I didn't track, I'd end up overeating one day and then basically fasting the next day. Plus, I had no idea how many calories were hiding in some of my regular meals. Tracking just takes around 10 to 15 minutes a day, and after several months of proper tracking, you'll become way better at actually eyeballing and estimating food. Anyone who tells you they eat intuitively have either never struggled with their weight or they have tracked for a period of time. To make sure your calorie deficit is working, I recommend weighing yourself daily and focusing on weekly trends, not daily fluctuations. I recommend aiming to lose around 0.5 to 1% of your body weight on average per week. And some weeks you won't see the scale move, and that's completely fine. Don't adjust anything until you've gone 14 days with no progress. So I wouldn't recommend completely removing any foods, especially forever. Instead, try making easy swaps like sugary drinks, swap them for sugary-free ones, high calorie sources, go for lighter options, fatty foods, find leaner alternatives. If you're overly restrictive, it will be unlikely that you can make a lifestyle out of a diet. And yes, I used to be one of those people that completely avoided sweeteners at all costs. But losing weight is the priority, then you can fine tune later. But Adam, you don't have an appetite like I do. Here's a fun fact. I once actually won a challenge by eating 54 wings, and the runner-up actually ate 48, and he was like double my size. If your appetite is anything like mine, you're gonna have to increase your food volume. Think big salads, vegetables, and other low-calorie, high-volume foods. If you have some pasta, make a side salad or put some vegetables inside that pasta. Sometimes I have to flex. I am a certified nutritionist, so some people are usually surprised at what I say here. When it comes to losing fat, ultra-processed foods are not really good in terms of satiety. That doesn't mean you completely avoid them, but most of them are calorie dense and low in volume, making them poor choices. Instead, I want the majority of your food coming from whole foods. Adding psyllium husk, like 5 to 10 grams into your overnight oats, is a bit of a diet hack. It can actually triple the amount of oats you get for like next to no calories, and it also obviously adds more fiber. You can also experiment with low calorie pancake variations or any type of cake you want to make. Meal timing doesn't have to be rigid. You don't have to eat 6 meals a day, but sticking to a routine can help. My meal structure looks something like this: pre-workout, 5 to 6 a.m., protein shake, banana and some dates. Post-workout, which is like breakfast, around 9 to 10 a.m. is overnight oats. Lunch is usually around 2 to 3, lean protein source, potatoes and lots of veg. And dinner is around 6 to 7 and it's pretty similar. Remember, you need to find what works for you. You don't have to have something before your workout, but I enjoy it and it helps me hit my protein target and have a little bit more energy. I suggest building out a meal for the month. Have like some go-to meals for your fat loss diet so it feels more like a normal diet. Include foods you actually like the taste of and make them taste better. I personally have had the same breakfast give or take for like 2 years. When I get bored, I tweak it slightly. I suggest following this 80 to 90% of the time and leave like 10 to 20% for meals out, takeaways, pastries, or whatever you feel like. Remember, consistently good beats perfect sometimes. The one thing I will always say is track everything, even the deviations. If you're unsure of the calories, find an entry on an app like MyFitnessPal or like Calorie King and enter 1.25 servings of it. This overestimates by around 25%. When it comes to supplements, most don't actually do what they say they're gonna do. The only ones I can really recommend are protein powder, creatine and omega-3s. A multivitamin can help if you find it hard to get enough variation through your actual diet. These are actually backed by enough science and make the process maybe a tiny bit easier. When it comes to training, resistance training is a non-negotiable. Building muscles and give you the shape you want and make it easier over time to keep the fat off. 3 sessions a week is enough, but you can go anywhere to 5 sessions. I suggest starting on the lower end, focus on progressive overload, like adding a rep or increasing the weights over time. The amount of volume you need per muscle group will depend on your experience levels and ability to recover. But if you start with anywhere between 6 to 10 sets per major muscle group per week and build it up over time if you need to. Our goal is to build muscle, but at the very least, maintain it. Personally, I found that high intensity interval training, high intensity cardio made me feel way too hungry and also interfered with recovery. And there is some research to support this. Your daily activity matters way more than you think. When I used to work a desk job, initially my weight shot up. Then I started walking more, just getting in maybe 2,000-3,000 steps extra a day, all the way up to 12,000 steps a day. And I found that that helped me regulate my weight. Let's say you can't walk much. Find other ways to stay active, playing a sport, dedicated cardio sessions, or maybe something like martial arts. Poor sleep can mess with your hunger hormones and actually slow down fat loss. Aim for 7 to 8 hours sleep a night and set up a very simple pre-sleep routine, which involves you relaxing and winding down around an hour before you want to sleep. Similar sleep and wake up times here will be really helpful, but don't overthink it or stress about it. Just aim to improve it over time. You likely won't go from 5 hours to 7 hours a night in just a few weeks. It will take time. Once upon a time, I used to think that one meal off plan, just one meal, was it. I had failed. And then I actually found out that most of the weight gain, like after you just eat a meal off plan, is excess water or just excess food volume in your stomach. If you slip up, just get back on track the next day. Progress is all about small, consistent wins. This is gonna sound cliche, but 1% daily improvements might seem tiny, but over a year, they will compound and actually change your life. And remember, behaviors and habits are everything. That's the difference between losing weight and putting it back on, or losing weight and actually keeping it off. So start small. Find one thing you need to improve on and work on that till you really have actually improved on it, and then add another thing in. Don't take on everything at once. Literally take a pen and paper if you have to, write down everything you need to work on. Maybe you feel like your nutrition needs work or whatever it is. Just reflect on that and then find out what you're gonna do. What's your next step? How are you gonna improve your training? What does that look like? How are you gonna improve your nutrition? What does that look like? Sleep, etc., etc. But work on 1 or 2 of them at a time. Get really good at them, get really consistent, then introduce the next one. You wanna make it as easy as possible for you right now so you rely less on willpower. Remember, you need to think beyond fat loss. What happens when you lose fat? You're not just gonna go back to eating how you used to eat. You need to focus on sustaining the habits you've picked up. Well, if you've picked up the habits, it will be far easier to actually sustain it. But you need to think about your next goals. What happens then? Am I gonna maintain for a period of time? What happens next? Because calorie deficits are not forever, especially when they're done properly. when you're doing the right training, you have the right nutrition plan to support it, you're gonna exit your fat loss phase and you'll be like, what next? Sometimes this can create a bit of confusion, and what ends up happening is someone, puts on weight. What you need to do is have a mini plan. It could be maintain, it could be bulk, it could be just do a sport or run a marathon, whatever it is. Have another goal ready and lined up. Maintenance is a very, very solid goal. If you want to maintain for 6 months, do that and have that in place. And of course, motivation will be fleeting. One minute you'll be super motivated, the next you'll really struggle. And I experience that too. When I take action, I become motivated. So say I don't want to work out, I go and work out. I say to myself, if after 20 minutes I want to come home, I'll just come home. But that's never been the case. So the action of actually doing will be the motivating factor, rather than just thinking about it, thinking about how perfect it can be and waiting for the perfect time to actually take action. Just take action, take messy action, and then learn along the way. That's all for this video. As always, if you have any questions at all, comment below. Deeper questions, feel free to send me a message on Instagram @AdamScottFit. Have the best day ever, and we'll talk soon.